Presidents Bush, Obama, and Trump all use these increasing amounts of data to focus on micro-targeting and personalization.
And online companies like Facebook are tracking our activities and collecting information. Facebook has a responsibility to protect this personal information. We had a good discussion yesterday. We went over all of this. You told me that the company had, yesterday when we talked, I gave the relatively harmless example that I'm communicating with my friends on Facebook and indicate that I love a certain kind of chocolate. And all of a sudden, I start receiving advertisements for chocolate. What if I don't want to receive those commercial advertisements?
And I'm glad that you all have gotten that message. As we discussed in my office yesterday, the line between legitimate political discourse and hate speech can sometimes be.
Mr. Zuckerberg, what is Facebook doing to prevent foreign actors from interfering in U.S. elections?
I only had one option for an ISP to use, and if I had to pay extra in order to make it so that my app could potentially be seen or used by other people, then we probably wouldn't be here today.
Okay, but we're talking about privacy concerns, and let me just say we'll have to follow up on this. But I think you and I agree this is going to be one of the major
Okay. It says the terms govern your use of Facebook and the products, features, apps, services, technologies, software we offer, Facebook's products or products, except where we expressly state that separate terms and not these apply. I'm a lawyer, I have no idea what that means. But when you look at terms of service.
2 minutes left
All right.
to ask you questions. So you interestingly, the terms of what do you call it? The terms of service is a
you can do is to be a strong advocate yourself personally here in Washington. Just let me make that clear. But many of
more recently really discriminatory practices in the mortgage business. I've always seen technology as a promise to democratize our nation, expand access, expand opportunities. But unfortunately, we've also seen how platforms, technology platforms like Facebook, that there was an investigation, something that's very disturbing to me, is the fact that there have been law enforcement organizations that use Facebook's platform to sue.
I want to start with what I hope can be a quick round of questions, just so I make sure I understand your previous testimony. Specifically with regard to the process by which Cambridge Analytica was able to purchase Facebook users' data. So it was an app developer, thank you, I appreciate that. And then how much do you know, or have you tried to find out how Cambridge Analytica used the data while they had it? And
Senator Baldwin, Senator Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Zuckerberg, for testifying here today. Do you have any idea how many of your users actually read the terms of service, the privacy policy, the statement of rights and responsibilities? I mean, actually.
Senator Capito.
Thank you, Chairman Grassley. Thank you, Mr. Zuckerberg, for being here today. I want to ask just kind of a process question. You've said
of millions of Americans, largely without any knowledge of their own. Who and how we choose to share our opinions is a question of personal freedom. Who we share our likes and dislikes with is a question of personal freedom. This is a troubling episode.
Into the record without objection.
Without objections, ordered.
And just a quick sort of wrap-up question, if you will, and maybe one quick comment. But you've answered several questions today about efforts to keep bad actors, whether that's a terrorist group to a malicious foreign agent, off of your platform. You've also heard concerns about bias at Facebook, particularly bias against conservatives. And I just, as a final question, can you assure us that when you are improving tools to stop bad actors, that you will err on the side of protecting speech, especially political speech. Chairman Grassley, Mr. Zuckerberg has answered a lot of questions today, but there are also a lot of promises to follow up with some of our members. And
Meaning Republicans and Democrats. Well, I tried to explain to them that they kind of get a obtuse, what would you say, a review of what goes on here, because controversy makes news,